down this Monday lunchtime. 5 News with Helen Fospero.
On 5 News, guilty, the footballer who killed 2 brothers in a car crash. Aaron and Ben Peake died during a family day out. Their father was seriously injured. The Plymouth goalkeeper Luke McCormick admitted causing death by dangerous driving. He'd been drinking before the crash. Also today, fears of a measles epidemic. Up to 100,000 children could be at risk. Protecting your savings, pressure on the government to guarantee all of our money. Skydives over Everest will be live in the Himalayas and... Who is the world's best band? We're live at the Cure. Hello, I'm Helen Fospero. It was supposed to be a dream trip with their dad, a day out at Silverstone racetrack. But 10-year-old Aaron Peake and his 8-year-old brother Ben were killed in a car crash caused by a drunk footballer. Today, the Plymouth Argyle goalkeeper Luke McCormick admitted causing death by dangerous driving. He was jailed for 7 years and 4 months. Five's crime correspondent Jason Farrell was in court.
Luke McCormack arrived in court to plead guilty to causing the deaths of 2 young boys in a car crash that has left one family devastated. Any message at all for the Peake family? But the Peake family had a message for him. 10-year-old Aaron Peake and his 8-year-old brother Ben were en route to a family weekend away at Silverstone racetrack when the footballers' Range Rover swerved into their Toyota people carrier on the M6. The Toyota, seen here at the police pound, spun off the motorway, hitting a number of trees. As well as killing the 2 boys, the father was also seriously injured with a broken neck and crushed spine. The former Plymouth goalkeeper today admitted dangerous driving and being over the drink-drive limit. He'd been returning from a wedding when the accident happened. His lawyer says he's devastated and horrified by what happened. In a family impact statement, the Peakes said their world had been torn apart.
Well, Jason's at Stoke Crown Court right now. Jason, a terrible day for Aaron and Ben's family. How did they react?
Well, it was the uncle and 2 cousins who intercepted Luke McCormack on his way into court. They were visibly shaking with anger as they held up those photographs of the 2 victims. That was in sharp contrast to the parents Amanda and Phil, who were quiet and very tearful as the sentence of 7 years and 4 months was read out. And it was made more poignant by the fact that Phil was sat in a wheelchair, still wearing a body brace, still has the injuries that he may never recover from, caused by this accident. And those injuries obviously more visible than the mental torment that the family clearly still suffers.
Jason, thanks very much. It can be fatal or cause serious disability, but the risk of measles is still not being taken seriously by parents. Now families are being warned that a measles epidemic is on the horizon because too few children are being given MMR jabs. Research by the Health Protection Agency shows that as many as 1.9 million school children have not had the full course of MMR jabs needed to protect them. Another 300,000 preschool children have not completed their MMR course. And between 10,000 and 100,000 children could get the disease this winter as a result of this.
Well, measles is, for many people, an inconvenience and uncomfortable illness. But for some it can be serious, there are serious complications, and some people can die from measles.
Dr. Carol Cooper, I mean, a lot of us tend to think of measles in the same vein as mumps or chickenpox. As we heard there, it is so much more dangerous, isn't it?
It is. I can remember having it myself. It's a miserable disease that makes a child very unwell. It's very catching and complications are common. So I think for all these reasons we should avoid it.
A lot of children have the first jab, but then, as we saw from those figures in the graphic there, forget to have the booster. How important is it that children have the full programme?
Well, it's really important because the first jab will only give you around about 90% immunity, and of course you don't know which of those children your child is. So it's really important to have the second jab, which will boost the immunity. And in many countries, they've used 2 jabs for a long, long time. Finland since 1982.
Now, there was a poor uptake, wasn't there, of the jab when, of course, there were lots of scares around the MMR vaccine and talk of it causing autism. How convinced are you when parents come to see you that that vaccine is safe and it is a very important part of children growing up?
There's a lot of worry about the vaccine, as you know, but I'm convinced that it is a safe vaccine. I've given my 3 sons both they've all had 2 doses of the vaccine. But the thing is, it's very hard to prove a negative. There's a growing body of evidence that has failed to show a link between the vaccine and any long-term problems. But once there's a scare story, parents really will worry. All I can say is that for almost every child, the benefits greatly outweigh the risk, and worldwide more than 500 million doses have been given.
Dr. Carol Cooper, good advice there as always, many thanks. A man who police say wanted to copy Jack the Ripper has been jailed for a minimum of 30 years. Derek Brown was convicted of abducting 2 women in East London, then murdering them. The bodies of his victims, Jao Gual and Bonnie Barrett, have never been found. Britain's gas providers have been criticised for not allowing users to get the best deals available. The regulator Ofgem says that people who pay by direct debit get much better rates for their gas than customers who use prepayment meters. It's a high street icon, but Pizza Hut is no more. The 700-strong chain has decided to change its name to Pasta Hut. The idea is to provide a healthier menu with less fat and salt. There was more turmoil in the financial markets today, with Britain's leading shares hitting their lowest value for 4 years. It comes as the government faces more pressure to take action to guarantee that everyone's savings would be safe if a bank went bust. Well, until now, up to £35,000 worth of savings were protected. You'll get it all back if the bank does go bust, but that amount will be rising to £50,000 tomorrow. But now there are calls for the government to guarantee the entire amount that people have in the bank, like a number of other European countries have said that they would. Well, our political editor Andy Bell is in Westminster for us. Andy, is the government likely to do more than they've already promised to?
Helen, I actually don't think the government is going to go down that road. I'll tell you why. There's been a lot of confusion today over what exactly the German government said yesterday, and certainly the view of the British government is that the Germans went no further than the British have already gone on promising to protect savings. Let me explain that a little bit more. You mentioned the figures there of 35 and 50,000. Those are absolutely correct. They relate to a specific compensation scheme that is covered up to that level. But what the government, the Prime Minister, the Chancellor have always said is that if a bank or a building society is in really serious situation, then they will ensure that no savers lose any money. They point to the fact that on Northern Rock, on Bradford and Bingley, no savers have lost any money. They say that remains their promise. So I don't think they intend to go any further on a formal promise today.
Andy, thanks very much. It's almost the big moment for our own Jane Dougal. After days of preparation in the Himalayas, she's getting ready for an historic leap. She's about to skydive over Everest, and she's had to watch as others take their leap from 5 miles up.
We hadn't seen her for a few days, but this morning, Mount Everest emerged from behind the clouds, as spectacular as ever. It was perfect jumping weather, and more skydivers took the plunge at 29,500 feet. In the next day or two, it will be me taking off from the tiny airstrip inside the ship.
There's your jumpsuit. Why don't you try on it, see if it fits?
Today, I was fitted for my skydiving suit by the man who will be my tandem master.
So we wear jumpsuits to keep everything in a controlled space. Secondly, in England when we land, it's usually quite muddy. To save your clothes from getting dirty, the jumpsuit gets the beating instead of your clothes.
I don't mind about that as long as I'm safe.
You'll be safe.
But while I was trying on my suit, the weather changed again. Battling to see through the clouds, it was a difficult landing. 2 skydivers made it, but 2 missed the drop zone. For a while, no one knew if they were safe, the doctor rushing to help. But then, one emerged unscathed.
There was a point when we went in the clouds, and it was horrible, you know, it was about 2,500 feet, and I know that's time to set up, and the airport wasn't there, so, but you can't, I just had to work on not getting scared and work on flying.
of us bring
It's
here.
horrible. I won't like, when I think about it later, I won't like it much, but I had to land it.
The other, an American, had only an injured ankle, but it's a stark reminder how dangerous skydiving from this height and in these conditions can be.
Well, let's take you live now to the Himalayas and speak to Jane. Jane, you realised the dangers, clearly excited about the jump. When will you actually do it?
Well, Helen, we just don't know at the moment because the weather's been so bad. We were hoping within the next few days, but there's such a huge backlog of people waiting to jump that we're just not sure. Unfortunately, up here in the Himalayas, the weather changes so quickly, the clouds roll in, and it's just not safe to either fly or to jump when you can't see where you're going. What we're going to have to do is to hope that these clouds clear, because mountains are very good at hiding in the middle of clouds, so we're just going to have to wait for that to pass. To be honest, Helen, I'm quite relieved because I'm still nervous about this whole thing, so if we delay it for as long as possible, that's fine by me.
Jane, we've got everything crossed for you. Thanks very much. And of course, if you want to keep up to date with Jane's adventure, then log on to our website. You can read blogs from the 5 News team in the Himalayas and watch the whole series of reports. Now, it's an early start for the rock and roll crowd today with the Q Awards taking place this afternoon in London. But the red carpet is out and the celebrities have already started arriving. So who's in the frame to win? Love them or hate them, Coldplay are top of the pile with 4 nominations, including Best Act in the World today. Adele is among those going for Best Breakthrough Artist. She's up against Duffy, who's also in the running for Best Track. We already know one winner. Meatloaf is getting a Classic Song Award for this, 10 and 10. I'm gonna hit the highway like a battering ram on a silver black sound body. Oh, in the Steve Hargraves at the awards in central London. Steve, who have you spotted so far?
Oh, we spotted you just Fran Healy actually here. Travis is just over here. Can we turn and have a look? Have a look. See, just to prove there are some celebrities here. It's basically early days. There you go. He's going to point at you as well. That's Travis here. Stereophonics are here as well. We've had King. They turned up, went past. Adam Ant actually turned up. Quite a rare appearance from him on the red carpet as well. So it's just getting going, just warming up.
Warming up. Now, Coldplay, are they really the best band in the whole world?
I reckon everyone can have a big debate about that, can they? A big argument. They probably split everyone right down the middle on that, but they are in line for that one today. They are also in line for about 3 other awards. I think that's the one thing we can guarantee today. Coldplay are definitely going to walk away with something. The big one, Best Act in the World today. Who knows? Argue that amongst yourselves and we'll tell you later on exactly what they walked away with.
We'll look forward to that. Thanks very much, Steve. Well, that's all for now. Laura's got the weather for you next. Join me at exactly the same time tomorrow if you can. Thanks very much for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Our education program helps millions of school children with their communication skills, doing our bit for the world, come rain or shine.
Good afternoon. Some bits and pieces of rain out to the west today, but for much of the east, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures getting up to about 16 degrees, but gradually that wet weather is only moving further eastwards. So overnight it's gradually becoming a pretty wet picture for all of us. But by first thing tomorrow morning, not quite as cold as it has been. Those temperatures down to about 9 degrees at their lowest, but for many of us a lot milder than that. Although the problem is that wet weather is sticking around for the day tomorrow. A really miserable day for all of us. Take a look at this. But there will be a high of 18 degrees. And by Wednesday, there's going to be plenty of sunshine. That's it for now. Enjoy your afternoon.
BT, doing our bit for a better world. Come rain or shine. BT sponsors